Okay. All right. Can y'all hear me now?
I can
I
hear
can hear you.
Okay. Perfect. Talk to me. How you feeling, guys?
Feeling good?
Pretty good.
Okay. Both of you are in bold,
Pretty good.
right?
Yes.
How's bold so far? You enjoying it?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. I have your permission to be very candid with you both.
Yes,
You
sir.
do?
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, Tevin, you're first. How committed to all the activities of bold are you? Are you all in on bold?
Yes.
Is that a 10 out of a 10?
I aim for a 10.
I don't want to hear what you aim for. I want to hear what you are.
10.
You're a 10, all in, committed to bold, yes?
Yes, sir.
You believe that's going to help your business?
Oh, yeah.
You believe that's going to help you buy a van with a handicap access?
Yep, definitely.
And what happens if you don't go all in on bold?
My business doesn't get helped, and I don't get the things I want to help my family.
Okay. I agree. I want that for you, man. I know you can do it.
Me too.
Okay. Donna, scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you?
I'm a 10 too.
What are you going to do with all that money you make?
You know what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to help my daughter.
Yep.
We talked about that before.
Yes, ma'am. Good.
That's the plan.
And you believe there's a connection between all the stuff they're telling us to do and the results you're going to get, yes?
There are already results.
Good.
And I just started yesterday, so.
Beautiful. Tell
I'm
me about one of
excited
those.
about it.
Share one of those stories if you don't mind.
Well, one of my text messages was to actually the person that I worked for. I still do a little work for her.
Yeah.
The job that I'm trying to transition out of all the way.
Right.
And I text her, and she sent me a lead this morning.
How about that?
Her sister is a nurse here in Atlanta, and she shared my contact information. I shared my app with Sonia in Virginia yesterday. Sonia shared my app with Regina in Atlanta. Regina shared my app with a nurse that she works with in Atlanta who's looking to buy a home.
Beautiful.
So,
all those people are in your database, yes?
Yes. Well, not yet. I have Sonia's information. I do not have Regina's yet, but I asked for it because I told her I want to send her a thank you note for the referral.
Beautiful.
And then once I get in contact with Regina, then I can find out who this other person is. So hopefully I get that today.
Awesome. Good work. Good work.
Thank you. It's a start.
It's a start. That's right. We're going to make progress every single day. We're not going to build it in one day. We're going to build it over a bunch of days.
And then I also text you because I wasn't sure who to reach out to about the whole referral thing. So I had something else come up out of my outreach, and it's a referral in New Orleans.
Let me answer that with you right now then. Yeah, ask me the question here.
Okay, so my daughter and her husband live in New Orleans, and they are currently living on a military base, and they're looking for a home. They went driving around, found a home this morning that they're interested in. So I said, be sure to let me know before you hook up with an agent. Let me find a good agent for you that will negotiate for you. And I know in the past, I think it was Aubrey, it might have been you that said, contact the market center, find the agent who serves on the agent leadership council, somebody who's been through bold so that you get the best possible agent.
Yeah, that's probably me that said that. Yeah, completely agree.
So I went into, I think it was KW Connect to look for the referral or the market center information. Somehow I got to the referral network. I found some agents there, but I was wondering, is there a list of like market centers by zip code that I should go to so that I can call the team lead?
Yeah,
I'm not really sure what to look for or where.
They changed it around a little bit, but I'm going to share my screen with you and I'll show you both how to do that real fast.
Okay.
Okay, hang on one moment. All right, you go to kw.com. This is the consumer side of it, basically. Hang on, I'm not sure why this is. There we go. Okay, then you go down where it says find an office. And it's in New Orleans?
Yes.
All right, I got a bunch of
Actually
them.
in the Metairie area, Metairie.
Oh, one sec. I'm just trying to close out a couple of tabs to make this easier. Oh, well, guess what that is? See that house, y'all?
Yes.
I helped that buyer buy
Yeah.
the house.
Oh, cool.
Guess what?
They didn't list with you.
That's right.
You said they didn't contact you?
They didn't
No,
list with Bill
they listed with somebody else.
or his team.
Bill,
Yeah.
you're not nurturing your database?
Guess not. Well,
Yeah, sometimes you find a surprise.
it happens. All right. We're having fun now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can't
I say
help
I
them
did
all.
lose. I lost one of my coworkers to somebody,
Can't help them all.
unfortunately.
I lost my niece. How bad is that?
Oh man.
It's not
Yeah.
guys, it's not their fault. You're
Yep,
just
it was
you're
ours.
not providing enough value. They
I
choose
learned the
somebody who
mis-
they value more.
Yep.
Yes.
I learned.
That's
I learned my
the way it
mistake
is.
was I didn't get in front of the husband, which was the decision maker, and he actually went with his coworker. Actually knew Michelle Slater, so I lost him to Michelle,
Ah,
Oh, wow.
and
All right,
she
you
told
see
me
this?
about it.
so there's two market centers. Metarie's kind of in between two market centers. Call that
Okay.
number right there.
Call that one there, the Richland Avenue.
Yeah. See what I did? Ask to speak with the team leader.
Why did you choose that one over the other one?
It doesn't make a difference. I mean, it just says
Okay.
Metarie,
Okay.
right? You can call both and get a recommendation, or get a recommendation from more than one person.
So it looks like there are only 3 market centers in that New Orleans area.
I guess so.
Okay.
Well, now there's one up here, there's one over here.
But that's
One
a
up
little
Slidell.
farther out. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here you can see where they all are, right? See what I mean? See what I did?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. There you go.
What are those numbers?
That's how many there are in that little area. So you would zoom in, and then you could see
Okay.
exactly where they're at.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Thank you. That was helpful.
Yeah. Okay. So here's something I want to do with you guys. It's going to take me a second to.
Can I ask one more question before we move on? So did I
Yeah, go
hit
ahead.
the points that I need to hit at somebody who's on the Agent Leadership Council and someone who's been through BOLD? Is there anything else that I need to be looking for?
I would call that person and just say, "Hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I would love to. This is a, you know, I would just ask them some questions. Hey, tell me about your business. You know, I have a possible opportunity. Just want to hear a little bit about how you operate. You know, I just want to make sure that I get the right feeling, kind of.
Okay.
And then you call them and say, hey, I have an opportunity. I'd like to share a referral with you. Are you comfortable with 25%?
Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then do I do it through the referral network on our site?
You certainly can. Yeah. You certainly can. To be honest, I've never sent a referral that way, so I don't know. Uh, I don't know what the connection between that and like an official, like broker to broker, like everyone's going to sign it kind of document is.
Okay.
I think you probably have to do both because one is from a compliance standpoint, and one is basically where you can check in and get updates and that kind of stuff.
Okay, so there's a GAR form, and then I would
Yeah, there's a GAR
run
form.
that
It's
through
called
the market
broker.
center.
I think it's called broker to broker.
Okay,
You can just search for that.
I'll do that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I want to show you guys a document that I'm pretty sure neither one of you have done, but I want to double check. And what I'm realizing is I want to make sure that every single person has a specific plan. And so what I want to do is, if you guys can bear with me for a second, I'm going to ask you both in just a second. I'm going to create an economic model with you both, okay? And I want to share a document with you. That way we can both edit it at our leisure, okay? Tevin, I'm just going to start with yours for a second. This is the document, the MREA2 document that I've been talking about, but it's specifically it's your copy. So this is a document that we've created together, right? That you can edit at any time.
Right.
Okay. So we're going to call this. I will share my screen with you in just a second. Make sure you have. I'd love for you to pull it up at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to go to.
I'm just gonna go run and grab another pen. I'll be
Okay,
right
cool.
back.
It's in the Google Drive, right?
Yeah, I've already. So yeah, if you go into Google Drive, I just created it, and now
Okay.
I'm going to share it with you. I just put it on my files, so I can
Gotcha.
pull it up nice and easily. All right, T pitches at KW. I'm sending it your way right now.
Okay.
Okay, and I want you to pull that up, and we're going to work on that together right now. And then
All
we'll
right.
do the same
And yep,
thing.
I got it.
You got it?
Yep. Have it up and
All
everything.
right, so go to the economic model and start to play around with those numbers in yellow for a second.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
Oops.
All right, if you can go ahead and pull up your Google Drive. I'm about to share a document with you, and I want you to see how I am changing these things simultaneously, okay? I'm about in the process of doing what I just did for Tevin. I'm really proud of you both, by the way, for enrolling in Bold. This has a huge potential for you. Okay.
Yeah. I actually almost kind of like the virtual way a little better already.
All right. So both of you go into Google Drive and pull up your individual files, and I'll be back in 20 seconds. Okay, can you see me, hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can see and hear you.
Okay, Donna, were you able to access it?
Yes, I have it.
Okay, beautiful. Here's what I would like to do. Tevin, I want to do yours really fast together.
Okay.
Donna, you can kind of just watch your screen while I kind of explain these concepts, okay?
Okay, because I kind of messed mine up. I don't know where my document just went. It says, yeah, I don't know what I did.
You should be able to go to the shared section.
All right, I'm just going to open it again.
Yeah.
Okay, I have it.
Okay, so I want you to go to the first tab, which is on the left-hand side, or at the very bottom that says economic model.
Yeah, I have the economic model open. Model 1, economic model.
Okay, perfect. So this is designed to help you get clarity on what has to happen for your goals to actually happen.
Right.
Okay, so what I want to do is 2 seconds for me. Okay. We're going to start. The way that this sheet was built was for numbers of transactions, and then we can quickly edit it based on price range and income goal. So Tevin, I'm working on yours right now. I'm going to change the 12 to an 8 just to make sure it works. See that?
Okay. Yep.
See how it changed everything? Okay.
Yes.
So we want to start with things that are actually, Donna, I could share my screen and then you can kind of see what we're doing live. Why don't I do that? Okay. So we want to start with this square right here, transactions. Okay.
Right.
If I change it to an 8, everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to only change the items that are in yellow. Everything else is based on the items that are in yellow. Okay. So
Yep.
First place we're going to go is to hit the number of transactions. So Tevin, you want to stick with 12?
Yep. 12 would be great.
Okay.
That's actually.
Now somebody requested that I create a plan for like between now and the end of the month, or I'm sorry, the end of the year. And so I rewrote some formulas based on creating a less than 12-month plan. But if you want to run a 12-month plan, then I just put 12 right here.
Right.
If you do that, then everything else works out okay. If you wanted to say, I want to do this plan before the end of the year, then you would change the 12 to a 7, and I'll show you where to see the results, okay?
Gotcha.
For now, let's just create a 12-month plan here, okay?
Okay.
All right. The next place we're going to go is percentage of business. So this is basically saying the seller side is on the left, the buyer side is on the right. So what percentage of your business will be sellers and what percentage will be buyers? This
50,
is a
50.
strategic decision. So let me go ahead and explain this to both of you.
Okay.
Number 1, buyers come from sellers. Okay. Number 2, you can have 5 sellers and go on vacation and you come home and all 5 of them are under contract. Okay. If you have 5 buyers and go on vacation, ain't nothing happen until you get back, unless you're willing to pay somebody to do the work, right?
Right.
Like, hey, Donna, I'm at the beach. Here's $50. I need you to go open 2 doors for me. And because I'm sharing some of the responsibilities of the transaction, then I am obligated, not necessarily obligated, but more than likely obligated to share in some of the commission. Right. So with that in mind, and you can work more seller files at once.
Right.
So if you say you guys are both relatively at the beginning stages of your business, you have a opportunity to create whatever business you want. So if you want to work with buyers exclusively, then all of your lead generation should be geared around finding buyers to help. If you want to purposefully attract sellers, then your lead generation should reflect that. Okay. So this is your opportunity to decide which one you want to be. If it was me and you were just starting out, I'd probably be, I think you're both probably going to err towards the buyer side, but I don't want you to lose sight of the seller side. So I'm just going to, I think a good place to be is 50-50.
Yeah.
See that? Now, if I change the 50 to 70, see how this one changes to 30? It's formulated based on that. So again, just change the things in yellow. Okay.
Right.
Next, I want you to go to commissions. Okay. And I'm going to request that you complete this on your own afterwards, but I'm just going to walk you through the doc here. So this is where you would put the average commission that you would expect to get based on the people you're going to service. So 3%, keep it at 3%. If it's something different, change it. Okay. I think it's probably fine to keep it at 3% for now. Okay. If you notice that every periodically you got to shave a little off, you can change that to 2.9, 2.8, something like that. The average commission in our market center is 2.7%. Okay.
Got it.
Just so you have that in the back of your head. Okay. Now, next place we're going to go is the average sales price. Again, this is for seller, and over here is for buyer. So Tevin, you've already changed these, right?
Yep, I changed them to 300.
This is saying that Tevin anticipates working with people that are Tevin is saying that the sellers that he works with are going to average $300,000. And the buyers that he works with are going to average $300,000. So you can change that based on your goals and your intentions, right? Okay, next we're going to go up to conversion rates. We're going to kind of go in a little circle around conversion rates. There's 3 different ratios that I want you to consider, and we're going to do each one for buyers and for sellers, okay? So one at a time. This one right here in column A14 is the percentage of listing appointments that you will convert. So meaning there's going to be a certain number of listing appointments you go on and a certain percentage of those you're going to take. Now, there's a percentage of people that will choose not to work with you. There's going to be a percentage of people that you might choose not to work with based on price or personality or whatever, right? So there's going to be some fallout. These, where I put 75%, I would say that's just industry standard. Okay. If you feel like you're, quote, better than average or less than average, then I'd adjust accordingly. Okay. What that means is that for 75 times out of 100, when Tevin sits down with a seller prospect, he gets the listing. Okay. Now, then once he takes the listing, there's going to be a certain percentage of fallout between the number that he takes and the number that go under contract. Taking the listing would be an exclusive seller listing agreement that you put in MLS, and a certain percentage of those are going to go under contract. I suggested that that number was 75%. Okay. Now there's going to be another fallout between the ones that go under contract and the ones that close. I think that 75% is probably fair there too. Quite honestly, these are all a little conservative, but I'd say because of COVID and because of the nature of y'all's experience, I think that's probably where we should be. So what that tells me is that if I were to go take 100 listings, I'm going to close 56 of them. Some are going to fall out between take and under contract, and some are going to fall out between under contract and close. The ways to improve these statistics is to be better at pre-qualifying before you go on the appointment, better at being a presenter and an objection handler at the appointment, and better at setting expectations properly so that you don't lose control of your client along the way. Right. So you don't want them to back out over COVID once they already got a contract. You want to see if they're freaked out about COVID before you leave the house to go visit with them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then down here is a little summary right here. So what we have here is that the average commission you're going to receive is $9,000. You're going to have a total of 1.8 in seller volume, buyer volume, total volume, and their average sales price. Now, if you had slightly different commission rates and slightly different price ranges and percentage of your business and conversion rates, these would all be calculated appropriately, but it was nice and easy here. Now, Tevin, if you do all this exactly as written, you're going to gross 1.8 or $108,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, for example, let's say Tevin needs $130,000 for his world to function, or for his goal. Then he could play around with a number of these different factors here. Probably the easiest three to play around with would be the number of transactions and the sales price. So for example,
Right.
Let's say he wanted to get to that 130. Let's say he's going to sell 16 homes instead. That's a little bit more than he needs necessarily. Now he's at 135. See how that worked?
Yeah.
Okay. The
Yes.
takeaways from this form are the following. In order for this, let me go back to the 12. Okay. Now, the takeaway here is that, Tevin, you need to write down the following nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You need 14.2 listing appointments per year and 14.2 buyer appointments per year.
Right.
Okay. Now, follow this. You're going to go on 14.2 appointments for the seller. You're going to take 10.7 of them, and you're going to close 6 of them. You do that, the world is great. Follow that?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to do that on both the seller and the buyer side. All right. Now, this is something called the big rocks. Okay. See this? So this is tied to the 4 conversations, and it's kind of a summary page of what we just discovered. Okay. So the 4 conversations, if you remember, is this. You guys have seen this. Here, while I got you, I'll show you the colorful version of it. Remember, we have a private Google Drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, it's taking too long. I think you guys have all seen this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is listings. I'm sorry. The light is so bad.
I can see it.
Listing appointments. Wait, let me look at listing appointments, listings taken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Closings, that includes buyer and seller, and profit. The way that we're looking at it here is as follows. Hang on one second. Okay. So listing appointments, this is an annual look, 14.2. Listings taken is 10.1. Units sold, that's buyer 2, is 12. And total annual GCI is 1.8. So now we break it down on a monthly basis. And I rounded up on this just so you can, it's a little bit more palatable. Tevin, for your business to work, you need to go on 2 listing appointments a month, period. End of discussion. Mic drop,
Mm-hmm.
class is over.
Right.
Okay, you go on those, everything was going to work itself out. Okay. Of those 2, you're going to take 1. Okay. These are rounded up. You're going to close 1 unit a month, buyer and or seller, and you're going to make 9G a month. You cool with that?
Definitely.
Okay. Now, I want that to be in front of your face all day long.
Okay.
Because nothing else matters other than you going on 2 seller appointments a month.
Right. And we should be
I
able to
know that if
we
you
should
go
be able to
back
print this
here-
page, right?
What?
So we could just print this page, right?
Yeah, sure. Or
Okay.
you can go into the Google Drive and there's a really pretty colorful
Oh yeah,
version of
the
four conversations.
actual one. That's right.
Now I know this says 14.2, but they're rounding up,
Right.
right? So if you go on 2 listing appointments a month and 2 buyer appointments a month, you're going to double your goal.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is all
Does that make
listings.
complete sense to both of you?
It
Yes.
does.
Okay. As you change the numbers in the formula, the Big Rock tab will adjust, of course, as well. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, the main thing that you need to do as a result of this is say, when am I going to find all the, well, actually, let me explain one more doc first, and then that'll make sense. All right. This is a little hairy here, but I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible for you. This is the second tab, listings needed / contacts needed.
Hmm.
Okay. So this is a little summary of the first page. And what we're trying to do is figure out how many listings do we need to carry at all times. This is an activity that we've done in bold. How many listings do we need to carry at all times for this to work? Right?
Right.
Because listings lead to buyers, and they give you bait to advertise to the world so people can inquire about homes with you. Okay.
Mhm.
So the only thing I have changed here is this 39. Okay. That's
Mhm.
that. I didn't update it based on today's Chart Masters, but the last time they released it, 39 days was the average days in the market for Metro Atlanta. Okay. So if, for example, homes are selling in 239 days, saving your changes is taking longer. Editing is temporarily disabled. What? I don't know why that is. But if listings are taking longer, you're going to need more listings, right?
Right.
So you can edit this number right here, and it will change the number of listings you must carry as active at all times to hit your goal.
Hmm.
Okay. Then we go down and we're trying to figure out how many people do we have to speak to in order for this to happen. And they ask you a series of questions, and there's all of it's formulated. Okay. And like 6 listings, how many listings do we need? That's from up here, right? Then the things that are in yellow are as follows. Number 1 is there's a fallout between appointments set and appointments kept. Okay. So we need to, I had 70%. Okay. And then when you're talking to sellers, based on all of the lead generation strategies, from circle prospecting to social media to calling expireds and all that, the stat that I've heard most often is that it takes 20 contacts to book an appointment on average.
Hmm.
Okay. If that is the case, you need to speak to 3 people a day that are going to be sellers. Okay. That's based on working a 20-day month. I'm being easy on you. All you got to do is 1 appointment or 2 appointments a month for 240 days out of the year, and you make 6 figures. Do you guys know how lucky we are to have real estate licenses?
Very.
75% of our country's wealth is tied up in real estate.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And we're in charge of supervising all of it. Okay, so go get your unfair share. Make sense?
It does.
Donna, you want your unfair share, right?
I want my unfair share.
Hell yeah,
Absolutely.
me too.
I want Tevin to have his unfair share too.
Man,
Yep.
I liked
All
you
of us.
before you said that. Now I really like you. All right,
All of us.
then we're going to go down to the buyer side, and it says you need 50 conversations or 50 contacts in order to find an appointment when you're dealing with buyers. So now this is telling me that I need to have 2 listings at all times, and every day I need to make 11 contacts. Okay, so then we go back to our big rock, and it's right there. 2
Right.
listings, 11 contacts.
Mhm.
Okay, so what that's telling us, now let's go back to bold for a second. Bold's telling us to make 40 contacts. Tevin, if you go make 40 contacts a day for the next 12 months, and you follow all these guidelines, there's a chance you can make $400,000.
Right.
Donna, where do you like your steak from? Kevin's going to take us to dinner next year.
Sounds good.
A couple times maybe. 400G.
It might
I'm
be a
looking
steak.
forward
It
to
might be
it.
steak, breakfast, lunch, and dinner day.
Yeah, mid-rare, sir.
Thank you, Kevin.
Mid-rare.
Looking forward to it.
Hey, me
Okay.
too. I like good food.
Does everyone follow this?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Next, we're going to go to the lead generation tab. Okay, I'm still messing around a little bit with this, but I want you to focus on the purple. Okay.
On the purple. Okay.
Now, MREA2 says that a database properly communicated with using a 36 touch should yield 10% closings per year. What that means is that, let's say you have 100 people in your database that you are systematically communicating with. 10 of those people will do business with you. Or you will get, let me rephrase that. 10 of those people will have a transaction. Okay. Approximately half of those people will be people already in your database. And the other half will be people that those people introduce you to. Okay. So this is a numbers game. The bigger your database properly communicated with, the more transactions you will have. Make sense?
Yeah.
So what are we going to do about that? Now that we know that having a big database is important, what we're going to do is we're going to set a goal around growing our database. Fair?
Yep.
So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to come down here and say, how many people would you like to add to your database this year? Okay. So I just said that we're going to add 500. If you're going to work 240, 250 days a year, and you're going to treat this like a business, you're going to take it seriously, right? Because it supports your family and it puts money in the bank and it supports your dreams and it gives you time off with your family and helps you make a life worth living, right?
Right.
If you treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
If you treat it seriously, you will make more money than you've ever made in your life. Okay. And money is good because you can do good things with it. And if you do bad things with it, I don't want to hang out with you anyway. Okay. So we're going to add 500 people to the database this year. So come on up here. This says that for every 10 in my database, I'm going to have a closing. Now I'm talking about nets here. These are people that know who you are. Okay. So the number required in your database to feed that 12 units is 120. Okay. So Tevin, I'm going to edit this with you and for you. How many people are currently in your database?
Roughly 100.
Roughly 100? Okay, let's just say it's 100. Will you change that? Something's going on with mine.
Yeah. Are you able to see it?
Yeah.
When I do it?
Have you done it? Yeah. Okay, it just showed up.
Okay.
All right, so if you go down here, what I suggested is a 2-month ramp-up period. So in the next 2 months, we are going to bust it, doing whatever we got to do to build up our database to where it needs to be so that 10% of that can yield the closing goal that I have. Okay. Now he's really close to his goal, so it's almost not necessary, but total number to add right away is 20. How many weeks are we going to use to add it? I put 8, right? That's based on a 2-month period, right? And that means he only needs to add 3 a week. In his situation, you kind of have to play this by ear a little bit. I would just say,
do it in a week almost.
Yeah, basically.
Or 2.
Right. So in your situation, Tevin, why don't you just call that 1? Okay. So now what he's got to do is total number to add is 20. He's going to add 20 people to his database this week. That means he's got 120 people. And if he properly communicates to those people, he should have his 12 closings. Okay. Now that means that additional after ramp up rest of the year is 480 additional contacts. How many months does he have to do that? I'm just going to say he's got, let's say you have 11 months. Change that to 11.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You said that if he adds the 20 and he ends up with 120, that's enough for him to get the closings that he needs for the year? Is that what you said?
Essentially, yes.
So,
However, they
how
have
are,
to be properly communicated with. You have to add value. You have to, this is 36 touches, right? This is a combination of text and checking in and loving on them and inviting them to events and like really working
Right.
with people.
so that sounds like a contact is someone that you've had a conversation with about real estate and they've indicated that they want to do something. I have people in my database that I just have contact information for, so I put them in the database so that I can reach out to them and kind of nurture them, and when they're ready to buy or sell, I'm the person that they're going to reach out to because I've been communicating with them. They haven't already indicated to me that they're ready to do something real estate wise within the next 12 months. They're just people I know who I've communicated to that I'm a real estate agent. So
All right, I'm
do
going to
I
echo
have the
that back
wrong people
with
in my database?
three different categories. So one is what I would call Mets. Those people that you're referring to, I would call those Mets. They know you.
Right.
You need to make sure that you have the contact information and you need to communicate with them systematically. If you have somebody in your database that like they don't know that you're in real estate, like you haven't talked to them in a while, that kind of thing, you might call those like not Mets. And you might want to use, that's what the MREA book talks about, is not Mets. Okay, you might want to communicate with them in a different way or less frequently, or maybe go through them once and just hammer them and see if you can move any of those people to the Met category.
But they should still be in my database.
100%.
Okay.
Mhm.
They should be in your database until one of two things happen. They either die.
Or they get a restraining order
Yeah.
against me. Got it.
Right. And I want to see like proof of the funeral. Then I'll pull you out.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I had the right people in there. I only have about 109 people myself.
Okay.
Some of them I haven't had a real estate conversation with yet. They're just names and contact information I pulled out of my phone. But those are the people I'll be reaching out to during bowls.
Exactly. And make sure that you earn the right to speak about real estate. You only earn the right when you offer things, right? When you come from the heart.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So, number one is you want to make sure that you take whoever you wouldn't consider a Met and try to make them a Met. Right. And let me think about this for a second. So somebody that would be a true not Met would be like, let's say, a neighbor in your neighborhood whose contact information you have and whose address you have, but you don't actually know, right?
Right.
You might pop them a message every once in a while, but you've had no relationship with them. Now, a contact for the purpose of our counts and for Bold, that's simply a conversation. They may or may not be transacting business in the next 12
Okay.
months. That's actually what they're calling in Bold a nurture.
Mhm.
Okay. So I'm not asking you to track nurtures, but you want to make sure that you have enough nurtures to keep your pipeline full.
Mhm.
Right. So at any
Mhm.
times you could take that 120 people and say, okay, these are the 7 that are probably going to buy in the next 12 months. These are the 8 that are probably going to buy in between 1 to 2 years from now. These are the 6 that are going to buy 2 to 3 years from now. And you're constantly watching your pipeline. It's like, when a football team, like, I don't know why that just happened. When a football team, hang on. Oh, what happened to my, hang on, guys. When a football team says, oh, I'll trade this player for a 4th rounder in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
They've already figured out what they're doing in 2022, guys. They already have like a plan for that.
Right.
Right. Are you that strategic? Have you done that?
Mhm.
See what I'm saying? So that's what I want to teach you how to do. That's what we're going to do. That's how we run a business. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me Hang on one second. I'm not sure what just happened with my my Chrome. Hang on. Can you share your screen, Tevin?
I'm on my phone doing it, so let's see. So I don't have it up on there. Actually, if it's saved, I should be able to. Do it let you share your screen on the phone? Do you know?
I think so.
Let's see. Share content. Okay. Yeah. Let me pull it up through my email on here, and then I can do that.
Yeah, actually, I might be able to do it faster than you.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm ready right now if you can't.
All right, go ahead.
If it works, hopefully. Okay. Or, nope, never mind.
All right, I'm pulling it up right now.
It's just recording my screen, not sharing it.
Okay, so yours is pulling back up. Okay, so now what we have is we're going to take a week to go hog wild and add the remainder of the 20 people to your database, right?
Right.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the next 11 months and we're going to add the remainder of the 480 people, right? So we're going to add 480 people. Remember, only change what's in yellow. Number of months to add them is 11. That means I need to add 44 per month, 11 per week.
Right.
It's like child's play. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So then we go to the big rocks. And again, we're kind of creating our summary page from each tab in the big rocks. So we need 2 listings at all times. We need to make 11 contacts per day. And we need to add 2 people to our database every day. We need to go on 2 listing appointments a month, take one of them, sell a home every month, make $9,000 a month. Okay. So now this is step 1. Step 2 is filling out the GPS. And the GPS would say something to the effect of, I'm going to close 12 units by the end of April of 2021. And the way I'm going to do that is by booking 28 appointments or 30 appointments. And I'm going to add 500 people to my database and I'm going to grow, right? I'm going to become I'm going to self-master, right? I'm going to become a personal development person or whatever, right? Like they say you need to set goals that are so big you have to become a different person to achieve them. So for example, in my current situation, I ain't running a marathon. It ain't gonna happen, right? If you told me to Bill, go run a marathon right now, I'd be like, I'll meet you at the hospital, right?
Right.
However, if that's a goal of mine for whatever reason it is, then I have to become a different person in order to get that to happen. Tevin, I'm gonna ask you to be vulnerable with me for a second.
Okay.
Have you ever made $108,000 in a year?
No, sir.
Okay. Would you agree that you're probably gonna have to become a different type of person or a different person in order to accomplish this goal?
Yes.
Okay. Your habits are gonna have to look a little different. Your routine's gonna have to look a little different. Your energy might have to look a little different. Who you hang out with might have to change. Right?
Yep.
How you spend your time and who you spend your time with might have to change. And then the question becomes is, hey, if you do what you want to do every day, you end up being mediocre. And if you desire to live a unusual life, your day-to-day habits are going to have to be unusual. Right. I mean, no one's dying here. Do you believe that when you speak to somebody on the phone, you're going to take advantage of them? Or do you believe that when you speak to somebody on the phone, you're going to pour into them and love them and help them make a better decision?
Help them make better decisions.
Good. So get on the
Be a
damn telephone.
resource. Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
So the GPS, this is basically the content for the GPS.
Okay.
And then the strategies is going to say, okay, who am I going to have to talk to in order to book these appointments? How many
Mhm.
open houses am I going to have to host? How many for sale by owners am I going to have to call? How many
Mhm.
Zoom meetings am I going to have to schedule? Right? How many posts on Facebook am I going to have to do? Am I going to do client events? All these kind of things, right?
Right.
And then you take the 135 and you boil that down to a 411, and that's basically what am I supposed to do today, right? So this is my 411. This tells me what am I. Camera is like backward for some reason. So what am I supposed to do today, right? This tells me I need 45 people in the PC program by the end of the month so I can hit my goals. Bill, how serious are you about this? Get your shit together. Okay? Because if you don't,
Right.
you're off track just like the people you're talking about are off track. So I got goals too. Right?
Mhm.
I want to have 10 internal appointments. I've only had one. Okay? 20 external appointments. I've only had 4. I had one today. Okay? So, am I on task? Yeah. I mean, I'm a hair shy of my on that, but I've got a few set up. I've got one tonight. Right? So, am I on track? Now, these are my priorities. This is based on the activities that I have to do in order to get this stuff. Okay. Now, it also includes some personal stuff and it also includes some financial stuff, right?
Mhm.
You know, when I make all this money, am I going to give money to charity? Am I going to support others? Am I going to make investments? Am I going to save some, et cetera, et cetera? Now, when you're confused about what to do every day and you don't have this type of document as a reference, what do you think you end up doing?
Getting distracted,
Going all over the place.
getting off task.
And where do you find other people's priorities?
They become yours.
That's right. And you find those on your cell phone text messages, on your email. Email is probably the biggest place you find it, right? Checking every message, answering every call. I got to tell you, this might be, this is going to be published, but I have not answered a telephone call with very, very few exceptions in a long time. I pretty much let them all go to voicemail. Now,
Me too.
I've got the thing in front of me all day. So if it's important and I need to take it, I'm going to take it. But oftentimes, I just want to hear the message. I want to hear the urgency in that voice. Right? I may not want to call them back until they calm down a little bit.
Right.
I'm going to be strategic and I'm not going to let things slide. You guys have probably known me long enough to know that that's the case. But I'm in control. Okay. If you answer every phone call, they're in control.
Right.
So I'll get to it when it's time to get to it. And the vast majority of the people that I interact with will say, damn, you call back fast. Sometimes. Does that make sense?
Right.
It does.
Right. And when I don't, I'm dealing with something that is going to push my goals more forward than that. And don't take offense. I mean, Don, if you call me in an hour and I don't pick up, it's because I'm focused on bold. And I'll get to you when I get to you.
I got it.
And if you text me and say, my house is on fire, I'm going to say, have you called 911? I'm in the middle of bold. I'll call you back. Ain't nothing I can do.
Right.
Right? I remember I told Marie, this just makes me laugh. I told Marie, I had this conversation with Marie Burgess many years ago. And I said, Marie, if you call me like after 9 o'clock at night, like I'm expecting you to be in jail. Like I'm assuming I'm your one call. Right. And I need to come down to the station and bail you out. And I will. You just call me, I'll bail you out. Right. And so like literally like 2 or 3 days later, she calls me at like 9:45 and I answered the phone. I'm like, are you seriously in jail? and she was just messing around with me. But anyway, does that all that make sense?
It does, and it's
Yes.
helpful too. As far as filling out the GPS, you can use this information and just transfer it. That's very helpful.
Right, because these are the goals and priorities.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do is figure out the strategies.
Right.
Okay. Now there's videos on the 411 and the GPS and the economic model that are already on the Google Drive, and I'll be posting this one as well. And slowly but surely, putting it on the drive and saying go get it and make a copy and then edit it, that wasn't working. So I'm doing this a little bit more personalized. So I appreciate you both being willing to do this together. Donna, you have your own, and you've probably been making edits along the way. All you got to do is change the things in yellow, and you'll get yourself a pretty report just like this.
Mhm.
If you have any questions, of course, just let me know. And the everything that's in like the budget model tab, it's a little confusing, and it's probably a bit beyond both of you guys right now. The stuff in gray just completely ignore, and everything else is just helping you understand your expenses and your ratios and these kind of things. At some point, we'll get to this stuff too. Feel free to entertain yourself. This is your document to manipulate. Okay.
Gotcha.
And
Okay,
pulling the models together is kind of a little bit of a second way of the big rocks. So you can kind of ignore that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is the plan. This is the plan. And then we have a document called, while I'm thinking about it, the 15th of the month protocol.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know what that is, Tevin?
Yeah, I think you mentioned on one of our other calls. It's pretty much where you check if you're on track, behind, or ahead. And if you're behind, you got to figure out what actions to take to hit the goal to catch back up.
So I'm going to, great, with one small change. The whole point of the doc is not to quote, you got to figure out what to do. This is a pre-planned action plan. This is not shit, I'm behind in my goals, I need to quote figure out what to do. This is I'm behind in my goals, and therefore I have a new plan now, and it is right here.
Okay.
Right. I slipped, and I did not do what I needed to do for the first half of the month. And because I am 100% committed to my goals, I have a new plan now. Right. And there's a document called the 15th protocol on the Google Drive. And it's just a series of recommendations of things that you can do, and you can tweak it based on your desires. But this is a pre-planned action plan. Okay. Now, what I would say is, and it's going to feel like a lot of work because quite frankly it is, because you've been slacking. Right. So if you don't like executing on the 15th of the month protocol, then make sure you're organized at the beginning of the month so you don't have to. Okay.
Right.
There's basically, when you're behind on your goals, there's two things you can do. One is change your goals. But you already told me you're 100% committed to your goals. So then there's only one other thing to do, which is change your actions, change your activities. Right. So it's kind of like, I compared it to a football game. Okay. So let's say you guys are I'm the football coach and you're football players. Okay. And we just got done playing the first half of the football game and you're getting your ass kicked. Okay. Let's say the score is 30-0. When we go into the locker room, your expectation.
You make adjustments.
Right. Your expectation is that the coach is going to tell you the new play.
Right.
Because the old play wasn't working. Old play got your ass kicked. So, players, what I told you before, scratch all of it. Okay? Can't run anymore because we're behind. So now we got to pass. And here's the way we're going to pass. And here's my favorite 15 plays. These are the ones we're going to run. And if those don't work, here's the next one we're going to do. Because we still want to win this game, yes?
Right.
Okay, so here's the new plan. And if I went in there at halftime and said, all right, guys, just keep up the good work, then how much longer, anytime we look at our diagnosis, we're going to say, well, damn, we're not winning. And Tevin, you got people depending on you to win. And Donna,
Right.
you have people depending on you to win.
Mhm.
So do you want to go to those people and say, I didn't win today, or I didn't win this month, or I didn't win this year? Sorry, I only sold 3 homes, not 12. So you don't get to eat tonight.
Mm-mm. Not an option.
For some, it is. I just don't think it's an option for you.
Mm-mm.
Hey,
Does all that make sense?
Yep.
You all excited to go into bold today?
Oh yeah.
All right. Interestingly enough, you guys are 2 of my favorite students. You've
Thank you,
both
Bill.
reported your goals for the month or for the week, and I'm proud of you. So thank you for your hard work. Thank you for your renewed commitment, and I'm excited to watch you crush your goals. Okay.
Thanks for your
Thank you.
leadership. Appreciate it.
No problem. If you have any questions as you're as you're working through these docs, just let me know. Okay.
All righty.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Good seeing you, Tevin.
See
You
you
too,
guys.
Donna.
Take